wonderful to have Team Talk's favourite, Darren Lewis, in the hot seat, and for the first time this season, Glenn Murray. Glenn, anything exciting this week?
No, not particularly, Jules. Anything your end?
Well, Darren, what's for dinner?
What's for dinner? Well, over the weekend, we got so much to choose from, haven't we? Dish of the day on Sunday, Chelsea against Arsenal.
Well, let's get straight into it, why don't we? The headline act this weekend is a top-of-the-table clash and a London derby. Chelsea versus Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. Will leaders Arsenal further cement their status as title favourites, or can second-place Chelsea throw a spanner in the works? What a game we have in prospect, and Darren, suddenly a top-of-the-table clash.
Absolutely. And on the one hand, it's hard to call because obviously Chelsea, off the back of a fantastic win over Barcelona, I really didn't expect them to win as emphatically as they did. Very impressive. And the clean sheet, all important as well. That means that's, what, 4 clean sheets in their last 5 matches. Very impressive for a side that I thought had defensive problems. But Arsenal, I mean, they're the defensive supreme master so far this season. They are so hard to score against, and I actually think this game will be decided by both defences. There's a mistake in the Chelsea one in every game they play, despite the run that they're on at the moment. If you take out Barcelona, the other clean sheets are against an unconvincing Spurs side, Burnley, who are struggling at the bottom of the table, and Wolves as well, who are struggling at the bottom of the table. If you were a striker, and thankfully we have one here, which defence would you worry most about coming up against?
Yeah, I think you make a very valid point there. Arsenal's, but there is a chink in the armour as well, with Gabriel not being there. So even though Hincapie's stepped in and he's been very impressive, there still is a slight weakness.
You'd still see that as if you were preparing to play in this game this weekend, because I thought Hincapie looked really composed and quite good, and also they all defend against Spurs.
Yeah, no, but.
Well, no, Bayern Munich.
They didn't have much attacking prowess.
No, it was Mosquera.
Mosquera against Bayern Munich, yes. So they've got 2 players who can go in against...
When we talk about Arsenal's defence, obviously it's the famous duo that we talk about, and when that's broken, there's got to be a slight weakness and a slight downturn. Even though we've not seen it yet, it's about managing that situation as far as Arsenal are concerned. And listen, for me, this game is set up for a bit of creativity, something special to happen. And I agree with what you say that Chelsea are probably slightly weaker in defence, but then they've got Caicedo in front protecting that space. But I just feel as though this game is set up for a certain man to come on and reintroduce himself to the Premier League. You know which man I'm talking about, don't you?
Palmer.
Yes.
Well, I have a question from a striker's point of view in Chelsea, because they didn't really play with the recognised 9 against Barcelona. We were kind of seeing the team sheet and wondering, well, who's going there? Estevao was excellent, but Pedro Neto through the middle and up top as part of that front 3 with Garnacho, that was quite interesting. Was that something you expected? Is it somehow a place that he could be taking up more regularly now?
It wasn't something I expected, but tactically it made sense because Barcelona play with such a high line. When you're going into this game against Arsenal at the weekend, I think it's a very different profile needed, because someone like Neto, I feel, could be bullied. I think we're seeing that with Richarlison last weekend, didn't we? Richarlison was very lonely at times, and when you are that mantle and you are that kind of foundation to get your team further up the field, ultimately he didn't hold the ball well enough, did he, on Sunday? So I can honestly see Liam Delap playing this game. A bit of physical presence just to kind of release that pressure, because no doubt Arsenal are going to play well and dominate the game at stages. So you need someone to go long to, and for me, that man's Delap.
So you think that he's the sort of player, like, you want him to have his back to goal, take the ball on his chest, keep the ball, retain the, so that if you've got players running off him,
then you can get people out, and because obviously, like I said, Arsenal are going to be in the ascendancy at times, and with their creative players, they're going to be dominant. They're going to pin you in. And sometimes you just need a release valve. And hopefully for Chelsea, that can be Delap. And when you hold that ball up, then you can get Neto with you, João Pedro with you, or whoever he decides to play. Obviously, you've got options. And when they're going forward, they're really exciting.
Let's talk about the midfield battle, because there is quite an exciting one about to go down here. Moises Caicedo, who was able to be rested against Burnley, because obviously he travelled back so late from international duty. He did feature against Barcelona, expecting him to play against Arsenal, and then against Declan Rice as well in that midfield. He was the outstanding player in midweek against Bayern Munich. That is a scintillating battle to look forward to.
It is, and it's going to be interesting to see how Arsenal deal with him, because do they try to cancel him out with a Rice or even a Zubimendi, who both of whom are very disciplined in the centre of the park, or do they say, listen, let them worry about us and play around him, then play down the channels? They've got very accomplished wingers who can score from the wide areas or provide the ammunition from the wide areas. So it does remain to be seen. Given the game is at Stamford Bridge, I would imagine they'll probably look to contain the likes of Caicedo and play around him. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it'll be definitely one man there trying to stop, and like you say, that is a possibility, whether it's Rice or Zubimendi. But him in his part, that last clip there is so special, isn't it? The way he hunts that ball down. And honestly, in those situations, he's so quick and so dominant. For me, he went there with a lot of hype from Brighton, a lot of expectation to step up. Obviously, the price tag came into consideration. And I feel now we're really starting to see the real Moises Caicedo and how good he can be. And I still think there's potential and growth left in him. And I think on those clips as well, we've seen him getting further forward and he's more efficient, whereas we know him as that kind of deep line protector.
Yep.
I think he's adding elements to his game as well.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Cole Palmer earlier as well. I want to move on to him because Enzo Maresca was speaking about the prospect and likelihood of Cole Palmer and Estevao playing together.
No, they can play together. They can play together. Depends, against which team, depends a little bit the game plan. But for sure, they are excited. The fans, they are excited to watch both together. We also are excited, thinking that at the end we need always balance between the two faces.
Yeah, there was a funny moment at Stamford Bridge. Cole Palmer was, obviously, they showed him, he was sitting on the bench there. And then when Cucurella was given player of the match, Palmer was standing pitchside and was like, how did you win this? Because I think a lot of people thought Estevao was the outstanding player. Very, very exciting prospect. And I think exciting for a lot of people that he chose to come to the Premier League.
Yeah, super exciting. Listen, I covered Brazil in the international break as well, and I saw him there, and he is their next big star. There's a lot of hope on his shoulders going into the next World Cup, and that comes from his time at Chelsea, what he produces in the Premier League, and it's there for Carlo Ancelotti to see. And for me, yeah, as an ex-forward player, when Maresca's asked that question, I think it could be beautiful watching those two together.
I think it'd be a wow. Well, you schooled me before the show because I was saying to you, look, I don't know if you can start Palmer in a game against Arsenal, formidable Arsenal, after 2 months out. And you told me a really interesting story.
Yes, I did, yeah. So I was recovering from an ACL injury. I've been out for 10 months, and Tony Pulis thought it'd be a really good idea to start me in my first Premier League game against Manchester United. And their partnership at the back then was Vidic and Ferdinand. So it was a rather long afternoon, to be honest.
Get a kick.
Wow, how did that go? How did that go for you?
Well, I try and forget about it, to be honest, Julia.
Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
I know I didn't score, we didn't win, but I can't remember what score the game was.
But the interesting thing is, I actually agree with Glenn. I think it's a big ask to start Cole Palmer from the start. And I think in English football culture, what we like to do is, if there are really good players, we want to shoehorn them all into the same side. But I think the system that beat Barcelona, and bear in mind, Barcelona's form, fantastic so far this season. They're in a two-horse race with Real Madrid for the Spanish title. The attacking trident of Rafinha and Lewandowski and Lamine Yamal, and Chelsea kept them quiet. Yeah. I think the system they've got so far works, and maybe we could see Palmer in the 65th, 70th minute. He's coming back from injury. You have to be fair to him and not expect too much too soon. Estevao, or Estevao, some people are calling him, he's more than capable of minding the store by himself, I think.
Yeah. Estevao, if anyone forgot that you're a print headline man, there's the proof. It's in the pudding. Estevao.
I'm available for bar mitzvahs and weddings as well.
Just make sure it's on silent for now, because it's going to be ringing off the hook worldwide. Okay, speaking of players coming back from injury, very similar situation at Arsenal, because Murray Eze was sensational in that North London derby, which I won't remind you of your predictions. Actually, we've clipped that up. No, I'm kidding. Murray Eze was amazing, scored that hat-trick, but now there is an opportunity for Martin Odegaard to start. What do you do if you're Mikel Arteta?
Or Eberechi easy. As lots of people been saying, why would you drop someone who has had such an outstanding impact on the team, on the fan base, on the momentum that Arsenal are trying to generate? Listen, I defer to Glenn because he would be able to tell you far more about why it would be important to have that stability. But I don't see why, even if Odegaard might be the superior player, the senior player, I think, well, exactly.
Superior.
So, but some people would see him as superior. Eze right now, he's the man with the possession, 9/10 of the law.
For me, Eze is everything Arsenal are. I think he is the community of Arsenal on the pitch. I think he encapsulates like the feeling in and around the football club. You can see what he means to him playing. He plays with a passion that a fan would play with. I had no doubt after watching him a lot at Crystal Palace that he would step into this Arsenal team and take it by storm. Listen, it's been pretty gradual. It's been slow at times, but that was an announcement last Sunday. And honestly, I think he could leave the football club as an icon.
Wow. This is a big opportunity for them. They've not won the Premier League in many, many years, decades, in fact. They've had moments where they've led the Premier League and they've not been able to see it through. Let's take a look at some of their fixtures that are coming up because, you know, once they play Chelsea, they've played most of the sides in the top half of the table, certainly. And this is confirmation of what's coming up. I mean, mentally, Darren, that's also part of the fight. You know, they've got this big game against Chelsea coming up. They had a big game in midweek. They had a big game on Sunday. But mentally, this is a battle for them as well.
It is, because the feeling a lot of people would have looking at this fixture list is that these are all winnable games. And I think in title races, that's where Arsenal have slipped up in the past. Not necessarily against the biggest teams. It's against the smaller clubs. And I think, for example, Crystal Palace is a potential banana skin. Everton would be in the top 7 on defensive record, for example. They've only conceded 13 goals so far this season. Brighton, as Glenn will tell you, very, very creative, free scoring. Aston Villa, one of the best defensive records in the Premier League, joint third, having conceded only 11 goals so far. These are all tough games.
They've got 8 games in 27 days. That's like a game every 3.5 days. That's a tough ask for any group, especially against the quality they're coming against. There might not be the names that we kind of consider being a difficult game for Arsenal, but I think any Premier League opposition, and this is really where we're going to see how they manage being top of the league, because obviously they've got history of blowing it, but also their squad depth. What we've lauded them for in the summer of like kind of getting better. Well,
this was going to be my question. The main difference between this season and seasons past is that there seems to be cover and quality cover in almost every position, double up sometimes. And that seems to be the difference. I'm thinking about the game in midweek where, for example, Trossard went off, Madueke came on, Madueke switched flanks when Martinelli came on. They both scored then.
Well, Calafiori came on for Miles Skinny and set up the goal for Madueke straight away. And look, there were 1 or 2 players in that squad that lots of people were quite underwhelmed by when they arrived in the summer. And then suddenly there was that terrific vindication of the policy, the transfer policy, when in the Liverpool game, Saliba wasn't available and Mosquera came and was outstanding. Havertz wasn't available, but Eze was able to play. There are so many options now for Mikel Arteta. There's a different kind of pressure because people are saying now they've got no excuses. But I think they should lean into that pressure because you would rather have it. It's a privilege, right?
Yes, it is, and I honestly think that this is their season. From this point on, I think Saturday's huge. If they get over the line against Chelsea, then that could be massive. I think it sends a message out to the Premier League, and also I look around them, and I wonder who can muster a challenge. They look so strong.
Yeah, very interesting. Chelsea, Arsenal.
Oh, 0-2. Arsenal to win that one.
3-2, Chelsea.
Okay, hot takes here this weekend, match week 13. And if you want to, you can rewind and see Glenn in all his glory once again. Thank you so much. Do come back next week, Glenn.
That's what we want, isn't it?
Great to have you back on Team Talk, Glenn. And wonderful to see you as well, Darren. Wonderful to see all of you.